So this is JtheGreat reacting to a video. We're going to be reacting to him reacting to Outlaw Truth. I never heard of the guy, but apparently the title of the video is the strongest tuning exams participant. Now, as we all know, this is always, you know, something that everybody loses their minds. No matter what, you're going to have all kinds of answers with this. See, people think it's either Neji, Naruto, Sasuke, Lee, you name it. The list goes on and on and on, and we could be here all fucking day. Obviously, depending on the variables, you know what I mean, will more than likely determine what direction and what conclusion you're going to have when it comes to whoever's the strongest getting for the tuning exams participation for the event and everything. But either way, I'm really curious to see what it is. We're going to kind of get into it, and it's your boy, one of the GOATs, JtheGreat, checking out a video from Outlaw Truth. And I'll make sure, if I can find his YouTube video, I'll put it in the link down in the description down below. But you guys should already know who the JtheGreat is. We are sub to him and everything, you name it. So I'll make sure to put his account down as well. And we are also going to be checking out a debate video he actually did against someone where he took the stance of Batman and somebody else is arguing for Iron Man. It's Batman versus Iron Man. Apparently I was told it was a really, really good debate video. It was really funny as hell, you name it. So I'm really, really hyped for that one. I'm very hyped for that one. We're going to react to that tomorrow. That debate tomorrow, we'll definitely get that video after watching some Boruto episodes and whatnot. We'll do a reaction video to JtheGreat, and then maybe a little bit of gaming in the one stream, but we'll figure it out. We'll see, but you know, I'm definitely looking forward to that. But anyways, let's get into this video, and hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get it.
Yo, what is up, everybody? It's JtheGreat.
Choji, he's multi-continental.
And welcome back to another reaction video here today. And today, we're reacting to a new person on the channel. His name is Outlaw Truth. I know he's in the same group as Six and those guys. I'm sure you guys are very familiar with Six and his group of guys through the Discord realm. And Outlaw Truth is one of the better debaters out there.
I'm familiar with Six, Seth, and Swag, but I don't know about Truth. I never heard of that guy.
And as you can tell by the title of this video, this is the strongest tuning exams participant. Right, so this is one of the most contentious aspects in all of Naruto, I would argue.
Yep.
Quite possibly the most contentious. Right, ranking the tuning exams participants. Gaara, end of tuning exams Sasuke, Neji, Rock Lee. There's always a comparison to me.
Gaara too, yeah. I forgot about him.
I have my thoughts on it, but I'm going to save it.
Yeah, as crazy as it sounds, there are people that actually think Gaara is also the strongest as well. So
after the video or during the video, if I disagree with something. But yeah, I'm very intrigued to see what Truth has to say about who he thinks are the strongest tuning exams participants. I'm intrigued on what feats he's going to extrapolate from the manga literature and use to build his arguments. I'm very intrigued for it. I'm always intrigued to hear people's opinions on this because it's a pretty wide spectrum, right? There's people on this side that think Sasuke beats everybody, and there's people on this side that thinks Neji beats everyone besides Five Gates Rock Lee. It's a very contentious topic. But yeah, I'm very intrigued for this one. But before we begin, I always greatly appreciate it. Hit that like button, turn on bell notifications to stay updated with yours truly. And if you're new and you enjoy, man, you mess with the kid, make sure to hit that sub button because once you do become part of the family forever. Let's not waste any more time, screen.
Right.
Let's see what this
whenever he does that snap, bro, I swear it sounds painful. It sounds so painful.
Tales of.
The tuning exams in Naruto is one of the most praised arcs in the series, and for good reason. Recently, I was reading back the tuning exams, and I couldn't help but start writing this video, since there are so many good potential matchups that could have happened, and I wanted to go over some here. I'll be going through two parts of this video, the first part being ranking the participants in their preliminary states, so nothing like Chidori for Sasuke.
Of course, the preliminaries first.
And of course, the second part will be the finals versions. Before we begin,
okay, so I like that. Not a lot of people really talk about the preliminary rounds, you know what I mean, and like basically who would win overall if they all had to fight each other and you name it. So I actually really do enjoy that. I think that's really goated.
Channel, and I'd also like to thank you guys. The growth in the channel has been pretty amazing. Also, if you want me to do a topic, go ahead and drop it in the comments below, and I'll probably see it. But kicking off at number 20 and 19 in dead last is a draw, of course, between two useless Kunoichi, Sakura and Ino. Elaboration. Neither of them have
their ass.
Beats really.
He's not wrong though, bro. He's not wrong. They're pretty bad.
Against each other and their impossible rivals, with that even being the name of the chapter that they fight in. Number 18 goes to Kin, one of the Sound 3 ninja. She fought Shikamaru and was able to put up a good fight, but of course in pure Shikamaru nature, he 200 IQ and beat her. So due to her not really having any links to other characters, she's stuck at 18. Number 17 and 16 for me goes to a tie between Shikamaru and Choji, since I don't doubt that Choji has the raw strength to overpower Shikamaru, but I also don't doubt that Shikamaru could outplay him. But it is worthy to note that Shikamaru said he probably would have just conceded the battle if he were to be paired with Choji. Number 15 for me is going to Tenten due to the fact that she literally does nothing. Now, I believe her narrative alongside Neji and Lee of being a more refined student due to training for an extra year gets her above people like Sakura and Ino.
Yeah,
but other than
that's
that,
fair.
she really has nothing to go off of. Her fight is off-screen, and all we know is that Tamari countered and completely violated her. Number 13 and 14.
Now, to be fair, in the anime, it does show the fight a lot more in detail. I think it just shows her like running around, and then she like throws all her fucking weapons and shit, you name it. And then it does a time skip, and then she's just on the fan, and it goes back to where the manga is showing. So the anime does give a little bit more, but either way, you know, there are people out there that are like, oh, the anime, no, hell no, not canon, you know, so.
Yori and Misumi, Sasuke and Kankura's opponents respectively. They both lose, but Yori is 13 since he's the only one that's actually able to do anything, that being reacting to a weakened Sasuke. But Misumi literally just gets outplayed and destroyed by Kankura, so that's why he goes down to number 14. Number 12 goes to Zaku. Zaku is a character that actually was pretty weird to scale since he relies so heavily on his abilities for the most part. Zaku has abilities like splitting airwaves, which allows him to play at a distance, and as long as his opponent doesn't have a good speed stat mixed with a high intelligence, they probably won't be able to win against him. Hence why he's above people like Shikamaru, since although he does have the high IQ, his speed feats just aren't up to par. Number 11 for me goes to Kiba Inuzuka. Kiba has all of the qualities that I mentioned before that are needed to beat people like Zaku. He relies on his high-speed attacks, which do devastating damage, and his cool head to analyze the situation. Not to mention that he has food pills, which would be an insane tool in battle, due to their buff of chakra that's implied to be even twice as much as normal. Number 10 goes to Dosu. I think it's pretty clearly implied that Dosu was the strongest of the Sound 3 ninja, with him being almost like the boss of them, and the only one who's going to stick around and make us think he was going to be an actual part of the story, with this whole narrative building of him wanting to find out Orochimaru's true plans and things of that nature. But unfortunately, he got too hasty and would confront Gaara, and, well, yeah. But his power is still pretty insane, even though some people like to overrate it. In his fight with Lee, he was getting absolutely pummeled and would have died if it weren't for his teammate Zaku, saving him from the Lotus. Lee, even in base, showed the ability to completely blitz Dosu, and only lost that fight due to him not knowing how Dosu's ability works and being distracted. As Tenten says that if he was alone and wasn't distracted, he could have soloed the whole Sound 3. Now moving on to number 9 is Naruto, the famed loser.
Good points. Very good points so far.
About the Ant Naruto that fought against Kiba.
I'm surprised. I was waiting for the downplays for Lee or the disrespect. I was waiting for. I was like let this motherfucker disrespect Lee. Let him disrespect Lee and watch what's gonna happen.
This was highlighted in Data Book 1, where they explain that whenever Naruto says the word Hokage, he gets stronger, showing the pure strength of his own ambition to reach his goal. The reason he's this high is because he has high-level jutsu at his disposal, such as Shadow Clone Jutsu, which, in my opinion, would overwhelm basically anyone below him. Paired with his immense healing factor and stamina, this truly makes him a formidable.
Now, I see Truth's his strategy as far as ranking these Chunin exam participants. It's a safe one to play because he's going based off the very empirical evidence that's provided, right, such as that data book statement. But another strategy that could be used is kind of scaling where their ceiling's at, right? And that obviously will involve non-empirical arguments as well, right? Like someone like Shikamaru. We see what he's able to do, right? We see where his IQ is at. We can make some rational inductions that his intelligence would allow him to deal with individuals that might be better than him physically as far as, you know, tangible stats, but because of his intelligence, he'd be able to get a win con against some of them.
Yep.
So I would argue he'd probably scale higher. Naruto, if you really want to scale his ceiling, I mean, technically he has the 9 tails, so you can argue that he's the strongest, even in the preliminaries. Right? We saw what he did against Haku, even before the Chunin exams. But I see where Truth is doing, and it's a safe way to do it. So I do agree with his method of ranking these guys because, again, it's all speculation. And even if your rational deduction without any empirical evidence is solid, there is some, even if it's minuscule, speculation. And speculation can be different from person to person, right? I would argue some people would just say, well, we never saw that, so that can't be true, right? I might disagree with that, but either way, the way Truth is going about it is a safe way of doing it. Right, so it's a very good way of scaling.
Correct. I agree.
Let's continue.
Nothing bad so far.
Next up at number 8 is Shino. Now, Shino and Naruto, in my opinion, is actually a very good fight, but in intelligence, Naruto is completely outmatched.
Yeah.
Even in the data books, when Shino's described, he's described as a great candidate to be tuning due to his abilities and strategic mind, which is why he lands above Naruto at number 8. Landing spot 6 and 7 is another tie between Kankuro and Temari. Like Shino, both of these characters should be above the likes of Genin level, as they went through severe training under Kazekage's rule, which is stated in Fanbook 1. The reason they tie for me, though, is because they don't really have anything else to go off of, but the fact that they should be above the people I've put them above. But the question of who would win in a fight against them is up in the air. Number 5 for me goes to Hinata. Hinata as a fighter is pretty gifted due to her Hyuga heritage. She has the Byakugan Kage Genkai, as well as the Gendo Fist technique, which allows her to negate conventional durability by attacking the straight internals of the opponent. The reason I have her above people like Kankuro and Dosu is because I'm using the mentally amped Hinata that fought on par with Neji. Even though whether Neji was going all out is up in the air. In my opinion, I don't think he is, since he could have subdued her multiple times in the fight. But even with him holding back, this is still pretty impressive because of the type of genius Neji is propped up to be, which I'll get into during his portion of the list. Number 4 goes to the most talented of the Rookie 9, which is Sasuke Uchiha. Now Sasuke, much like Kankuro and Shino, has the abilities that far surpass the level of Genin, which is shown in his fight with Orochimaru.
One thing I will say, like, he put Naruto way, way high. Like, way fucking high. And he's putting, like, Sasuke way in the bottom. The problem with putting Sasuke at the bottom is this Sasuke has no access to any chakra. Like, he can't use chakra to amplify his stats. He can't activate the Sharingan. He can't, do anything with, fires, ninjutsu, anything like that. He's severely handicapped. And if the curse mark releases, he basically is disqualified. So, if Sasuke fought against Naruto, okay, he more than likely would have lost. Okay, he definitely more than likely would have lost. Sasuke would have lost against Shino. Sasuke would have lost against Shikamaru. Like, Sasuke would have lost against a lot of fucking people. If anything, like, the only people Sasuke would have been able to beat is, Ino, Sakura, maybe Tenten. But, like, he's going to struggle because, once again, he can't amplify himself and utilize chakra, which is a really big deal. Like, everybody uses chakra, you know what I mean? So, like, the Sasuke that's there, like, he shouldn't be that low. He definitely shouldn't be ranked number 4. I forgot where he put freaking Naruto, but if anything, Naruto should be, like, number fucking 4 if we're really being honest. But, or better yet, like, fucking, like, I don't have a problem with Shino being, like, you know what I mean, like, above Naruto, because that's fine. Like, if they were to fight, it more than likely Shino would have won, especially the Naruto that was presented at that point, too, like, with his bugs and everything. But, Sasuke is way, way too low. Way too low for no fucking reason at all. Like, that's just, I don't know. That's just me. Like, Sasuke's not beating, he wouldn't have beaten Kankuro, he wouldn't have beaten Temari, he would not have beaten Shino, he would not have beaten Shikamaru, he would not have beaten Naruto. There's so many people he would have lost if he had to fight against them. Like, that's highly, highly disingenuous. That's just me. You know what I mean?
Is clearly toying with him. In the first data book, it actually says that this fight was above the limits of a Genin. Now, Sasuke vs Hinata, this is actually a pretty good fight. Hinata would most likely win due to her close quarter taijutsu, but when it comes to a mid-range fight, I see Sasuke taking it pretty easily with jutsu like the Phoenix Fire, and I don't see Hinata closing the gap quick enough to take him.
Now, if he's talking about, like, Sasuke, you know what I mean, in the Forest of Death and all that, where he can use the Sharingan and you name it, the whole 9 yards, that's a whole different story. But I could have sworn this video was about tuning exams, and at that point in time, Sasuke's, like, heavily fucking nerfed. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, if that's the case, then that's a little more understandable, and that's where, he can be a whole other thing. And at that point, like, that particular Sasuke would definitely beat Naruto, would definitely, the Naruto that was at least in the tuning exam. If it's the Naruto with the QB and all that, then Sasuke's losing. But either way, so it just, once again, like, that's the confusing part about it. Like, I didn't know he was going that route. I thought he was sticking to, how they all are in the tuning exams. That's what made a lot more sense to me. But, so with that being the case, like, if Sasuke was, like, to fight against, like, Shikamaru or fucking, I could potentially still see Shikamaru somehow pulling it off because he's such a fucking smart ninja. Um, what's up, Lil K? Hola, hola. But you know, like either way, like overall, like if that same Sasuke had to fight Hinata, like could Sasuke be able to pull it off? Probably. You know what I mean? Like with his fire style, the straight, like the performance that he does against Orochimaru and you name it, and all that good shit, or just overall in the Force to Death. Like I could see like it could be possible for him to somehow maybe beat Hinata, but like Hinata has the Byakugan, she has the same shit, can anticipate, you name it. So it might be really, really difficult for Sasuke to really do anything to Hinata. I don't know. I don't know. Like I think Hinata might actually have it in the bag. As crazy as that sounds, she should be able to probably beat it. And even Kakashi even like has a statement at that point, like even their Sasuke at that point wouldn't prevail. You know what I mean? Whether if he just meant that towards like Neji, you know what I mean, and not Hinata, just only Neji or whatever, but I feel like that was kind of being implied in the sense of like with the gentle fist, you name it. So like I don't know, bro. Like Hinata might beat that Sasuke either way. Like if it's the Sasuke that's severely handicapped in the tuning exam, then he's definitely losing. But if it's the one like in the Force of Death and all that, I could see Sasuke pull off the W. But it wouldn't be crazy to think like Hinata can't beat him. You know what I mean? Like Byakugan Gentle Fist, it goes a long fucking way, and at this point in time, Sasuke's just not equipped to really take on something like that. Yeah, I'm reacting to Jay, and he's reacting like to a person called Outlaw Truth. It's like the strongest shooting exams participant. Yeah, I've done a lot of reactions so far over the stream, and what's it called? We're kind of getting a reaction stream going. And then later today at night, I'm gonna watch some Boruto, probably about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours worth of it. We'll see. And then I'm gonna react to a debate with JtheGreat versus somebody as well. So. Anyway, did I miss Boruto? No, yeah, you didn't miss any Boruto. I didn't do Boruto. I was going to do it, but then I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a bunch of reaction videos, get some YouTube vids ready, and whatnot, and then I'll do the Boruto later tonight. Because I get off early at work today, like 8:30 p.m., so that's why I figured I'd rather do it today. This way I just have more time, you know what I mean, to watch Boruto, not have to worry about work or anything the next day, you name it. Just have more freedom, so... Grounded. Hey, I'll check the game out. I'll probably like download it or buy it, whatever, like maybe later today and kind of look at it. But I'll give it a shot. How about that?
And win the fight. Now it's number 3 is Gaara. Gaara is held up to be the demon of the sand village that kills anything without a second thought. And of course, like many others I mentioned before, his abilities are above that of a Guinean by a long shot. Being able to surpass the record set by the 4th Hokage Minato in the Force of Death, Gaara is clearly not something to play with, and is even said to be one of the scariest members competing in the exams. But of course Gaara has his downfall when he almost loses to the Taijutsu Master Lee. Lee was just clearly outclassing Gaara's sand while weightless and in gates, which is why he doesn't make the top 2. But for Sasuke vs Gaara in the preliminaries, I think it's pretty clear who would win. I mean, Sasuke is the same guy who was getting blitzed by weighted Lee, quite literally not being able to move in time.
That I agree with. He does scale above Sasuke, yes.
Gaara's sand was the same sand that was able to react and block the same Lee, so Sasuke just clearly doesn't have the ability to combat an opponent like that. You could even argue that the sand would just blitz Sasuke before he could even move like Lee did. Now on to number 2 is a curveball, Neji Hyuga. Now I know some of you think that Neji is stronger than Lee, but let me remind you that I'm using these characters in the peak of their power, which means I'm using 5th.
Now, I guess I have an issue with Rock Lee scaling above Gaara, right? So Rock Lee has success against Gaara, that is definitive. It's empirically shown, right, based off the very fight that we see between the two. However, Rock Lee failed to defeat Gaara, even with 5 gates awakened. You could argue that he just didn't have the necessary AP to eventually penetrate the sand, or even when he hit Gaara's kind of skin sand shield, I guess, he didn't have the necessary AP to break it. Right, and that was the difference. He might have had the definitive speed advantage as far at least.
So what I will say on this, because a lot of people always forget, like, and it's understandable and it is what it is, and it's not a bad thing. But what I'm going to put this out there, because I'm immediately will be on the defense for Lee or any character that's not really understood in my opinion. You know, Lee with the first gate alone would have had enough AP to kill Gaara. Like, he forced Gaara to do a sand substitution, and it's also stated verbatim by Guy that the Lotus would have been enough to go through that layer of sand, the shell and all whatnot. Even Lee thought it as well. So it stated twice that he would have been able to kill him with the first gate, landing him straight on his fucking head, and you name it, which is why Gar had to like substitute out of it. So, you know, I'm just being real with you. Like, I don't know about all that. So he definitely had enough AP even with the first gate, and then with the fourth and fifth gate, obviously he's getting massively more powerful. You know what I mean? Amps upon amps or whatever. So like when Lee was first beating up Gar, like he's basically just hitting him all around, you name it, and completely breaking apart the sand armor. Not to the point where like he was able to make him bleed, you know what I mean, or anything like that and whatnot. Because obviously without the sand armor, Gar's durability is trash. Like even base Naruto was able to make him bleed multiple times with a kick, a headbutt, and you name it. So, but either way, like, you know, he was breaking it apart, and fucking Gar was like, wow, like all my sand armor, it's not withstanding, it's not holding up. You know what I mean? And then eventually, like, Lee does like his final blow, and you know, if Lee basically did like that kick that he does, like, instead of it to his fucking stomach, and let's say he did it like on his fucking head or his neck or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, he probably would have killed him, you know what I mean, in a way. Or done some serious fucking damage, but instead he did it to like his body, and then Gar used like his sand gore to cushion the blow and protect himself to survive from that attack. So like, to be fair, Lee technically would have either incapacitated Garam or killed him, even with like the fifth gate as well. But because of where he hit, he didn't, if that makes sense. A lot of people really don't understand that or remember that in the fight. Like, and at the end of the day, that just kind of goes to show that like Lee's not really of a smart, intelligent fighter. Like if that was Sasuke with the gates or Neji with the gates or Minato or whatever you name it, and you know fucking, and they were using the gates and they attacked at a certain spot in the body, would more than likely be a guaranteed KO. You know what I mean? Like, Gar would have been either knocked out or killed. So, I just want to put that out there. You know what I mean? I'm just making it very crystal clear. Lee definitely had the AP to kill Gar, which a lot of people confuse that. Everybody always just thinks, oh, he was just faster. It's literally stated that he would have taken out Gar. Like, it makes no logical sense to say Lee doesn't have the AP when Gar substituted out of it. You don't substitute out of something you don't think you can't tank or deal with. It doesn't make any logical sense. Okay, so overall, definitely had enough AP. Definitely could be able to you know, get a W in the bag. But once again, because Lee's not really that bright of a person, okay, he kind of hit at an area that was gonna work out in the least most best positive manner, you know, as of effectively damaging Gar or killing him or knocking him out. And since Gar used chakra embedded into sand and used the sand gore to cushion the blow and everything and protect himself, he was able to survive. And if you literally pay attention right after he gets slammed to the ground, Gar looks fucked up. Like, he's on the ground, huffing and puffing, like fucking all fucked, like he's on like the verge of death, basically, okay? So it did a lot of damage. But once again, Lee did it on the stomach, and Gar protected himself, you name it. So if he did it like maybe on his head, his neck, or whatever, Gar probably would have been fucking dead or knocked out. So that's all I'm going to say on that, but like I really wanted to emphasize because a lot of people just forget or they don't really understand or whatever. I don't know, but either way, that's kind of all I'm going to say there. So
as far as reaction times, right? Gar was having trouble reacting, and there's some narrative implications that his sand is somewhat.
Oh, also, most importantly, Ken made a good point as well. The plot. At the end of the day, it's a plot arc. If the plot fucking demanded it, at the end of the day, it was going to go that direction no matter fucking what. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what. So, that's also something we all gotta realize. You know what I mean? Like, fucking, like, shit. Like, let's be real. If Sasuke went against anyone else at that point in time, obviously excluding, like, Sakura, Ino, and all that, you name it, and whatnot. But, like, if he went against, like, the majority of the tuning exam participants, like either Neji, Lee, Naruto, you name it, or even Hinata, whatever, or Shino, or Tamari or Kankuro, he would have lost. Like, he dead ass would have lost. And he would have never proceeded on to the finals and to fight Gar, you name it, the whole 9 yards. But once again, because it's a plot, writing, story, you name it, that's why certain things happen for a reason. That's why it happened to begin with. And at the end of the day, it's written, it's what happens, it's what you got to go off of. It is what it is. So
sentient and protects him himself. Even that sand was having trouble reacting to, you know, Gates Rock Lee. But however, Rock Lee almost died by Gar's hand, right? And I would say that
I'll keep that noted, okay?
These type of characters, if you want to talk about amps and nerfs, these two characters.
Maybe I'll do like 4 or 5 hours worth. We'll see. We'll see. Like, well, we shall see, but
are almost always amped. Why? Well, Gaara throughout the preliminaries and through the majority of the Chunin exams until post-Chunin exams was always bloodlusted. He always wanted blood, which is why he was so dangerous. He never held back. Right? He was willing to kill. He even said to his own brothers and sister, "I'll kill you if you don't get him. If you get it in my way, I will kill you." So he's always mentally amped. And Rock Lee, because of his conviction, he's willing to kill himself to win. He even got up after getting his ass smashed by Gaara and wanted to keep fighting, but my guy had to intervene to save his life. So I would say Rock Lee does not scale above Gaara. I think empirically that has been shown, and he failed to defeat him. Right? Opponent A lost to opponent B.
Oh, that's another thing I forgot to mention as well. Gaara, just like Naruto, is a Jinchuriki, so he also has a healing factor, which is why he was able to get up, you know what I mean, and basically get back up like, you know, there's no tomorrow. Like, fucking, like, literally, like, after Naruto fights Kiba, he gets up there, and, like, he gets ointment from Hinata, whatever, and then Naruto's like, yeah, it's healing so quick already, blah, blah. And then Kurenai's like, you know, it's not healing because of the ointment, it's healing because of the Nine Tails chakra. Like, his wounds are already regenerating. Like, incredible recovery rate, blah, blah. Like, she compliments about the Nine Tails recovery rate, and you name it. So, like, the Jinchuriki, they have an insane recovery ability. Like, I had, like, multiple scans. So I've been going through all of Naruto and the manga, and I'm finally in Shippuden, and I'm almost done with all the Shippuden scans that I need, and I'm finally back where I need to be, and I have all the shit that I need, and I'm just going to organize everything in folders. But there's multiple scans of talking about the healing factor and recovery rate of a Jinchuriki, and it's absolutely ridiculous. So that's another thing a lot of people also forget. You know what I mean? So, like, you know, healing factor kind of goes a long way, and, you know, that's something to also put into consideration as well. But like I said, nothing, no disrespect to JtheGreat or anything like that, whatever. I understand where he's coming from. I know what he's saying. I was in the same boat back then, you know what I mean, whatever, you name it. But as I looked more into it and analyzed and so on and so forth, you name it, Lee did have the ability to defeat Gaara, but at the end of the day, it was just the wrong opponent. Not you know what I mean? It just wasn't gonna work out. You know what I mean? It wasn't. You know, it's like, for instance, it's like, you know, like Superman going against someone that has like kryptonite. You know what I mean? Can Superman be able to beat that person? Sure, probably. But will Superman might lose more than likely? Probably, because it's fucking kryptonite. It's the same fucking concept. So overall, Lee could have been able to beat him, but the plot demanded it. You know, the healing factor, all that. Fucking, you know, the sand, you name it. Like, it's just, unfortunately, it is what it is. It's just, it wasn't there. Like, for instance, if that was Guy in Rock Lee's shoes, Guy would have been able to beat his ass with just Taijutsu alone. You know what I mean? Like, probably in base. Like, he was over here smacking away Gaara's sand like it was nothing, while Lee's punching the sand and he can't do anything. Guy just pulls up and smacks that shit away. You know what I mean? So, like, it's not because Taijutsu is ineffective or whatever. It boils down to power level, you name it, and it is what it is. Unfortunately, for the circumstance, everything that happens with Lee, that's just how it went. And it unfortunately gives Lee a very bad rep. And a lot of people like to downplay Lee because of it, or misunderstood Lee, you know, or just don't understand it really at all when it comes to this scaling. So, like, you guys gotta remember, you're talking about the same fucking Lee that was fighting against Kimamaru, okay? And literally, like, not only gave him a run for his money while he's in base, and then was beating his ass in Drunken Fist and forced him to go to CM1, okay? And then Lee did the first gate. Mind you, he just got out of surgery, okay? So he's even weaker, you name it. Gar even states that, oh, like, you were sharper and faster when I first fought you, blah, blah. So, like, it's technically a weaker Lee, but he's still so strong and so fast. With the first gate as well, he's able to speed blitz Kimamaru while he's in base and forced him to use jutsu activation to compensate for the speed difference. That's the fucking guy we're talking about here, okay? So, Lee's not weak. He's not a fucking pushover. He's not trash. He's not, oh, whatever, yada, yada. Like, at the end of the day, people really need to understand that Lee is a very powerful individual in Naruto. And the downplays and the bullshit just has to stop. You know what I mean? So, that's probably going to be the only main disagreement and critique I'll have, you know, with, you know, at least with what JtheGreat's saying so far. Nothing but love for him, but I very, very much disagree with that, though.
Hence, through modus ponens, which is propositional calculus term, If opponent A beats opponent B, then opponent A is superior to opponent B on a balance of probabilities.
So
this was just one on.
Not necessarily. So that doesn't make any sense. So for instance, that's for instance, the prime example. That's like saying like, okay, Batman beats Superman with kryptonite, therefore Batman's always better. That's not how that works. Obviously, if Batman didn't have kryptonite, he would get fucking destroyed by Superman. You know what I mean? Or better yet, it's still technically 50-50, even though Batman's using one of his weaknesses. That's not how that works. So all because you can beat someone doesn't necessarily mean you're stronger. There's conditions, there can be variables, there can be plot, there can be, you fucking name it, okay? Like, for instance, like another prime example, like fucking Naruto, if he didn't have the fucking Nine-Tails chakra, he would have lost to so many other people. Like, there's many ways and reasons why you could lose to someone. That doesn't necessarily mean they scale over that particular person. That's a very, very bad, in my opinion, very bad mindset to have, okay? Because if the conditions change, whatever case you name it, whatever, yada yada, okay, you could easily imply that that would not have been the case and that would never happen. Like for another example, Jiraiya. We obviously know he's not stronger than Pain and he would get fucking dog washed by the fucking passive Pains, you name it. But let's say like Jiraiya uses his Genjutsu and all 6 are there, right? And he uses his Genjutsu, whatever, and it hits all of them and now he's able to kill them all. Jiraiya beat Pain, so therefore Jiraiya is greater than Pain. No, that's not. We all know Jiraiya is not greater than fucking Pain. Or let's say he did that shit to like Obito or whatever, or Itachi, and he was able to kill him because of that. Does that mean Jiraiya is now greater than Itachi and Obito? No. It just means that unfortunately at the right moment and circumstance, he was able to get off a very broken-ass Genjutsu that basically fucks you and paralyzes you, and then you're vulnerable to attack and you get bodied. You know what I mean? So like, overall, like, it doesn't necessarily prove you're better than the other person. It just means that they had certain advantages or benefits at the time, or maybe certain variables that basically gave that, you know, reason of why, you know, that turned out to whatever it's supposed to be. It's just as simple as that. You know what I mean? So, definitely don't agree with that. But I get what he's saying. For the most part, yes, you can go that route, but not always.
One, sparring, going at it. So that's my take on that. But again, it's all contentious.
And he said, and see, that's what I love about him right there. He literally, right there, that's what I love about JtheGreat. The fact, I wasn't expecting that. He's like, but then again, but it's all contentious, you name it, whatever. I love that. Being humble, being honest, applying integrity, applying equity, incredible. You like that's all you need from right there. Because if that was anybody else, like Six, Seth, or fucking whoever was, oh nope, that's it. Just that's it, and nothing else. You know what I mean? They would never ever be that humble, you know, and be open to the possibility of things, or you know, you name it. You know what I'm fucking talking about.
Lee, so I'd appreciate it if you stick around and see my reasoning for his placement when we get there. So Neji's whole narrative during the preliminaries is him being the top genius of geniuses, at least before we see Lee and Gates. Neji is a character that has multiple statements of him being the strongest Genin, and that holds true to a certain extent. Neji vs. Gaara is actually a fight that I originally didn't think was interesting, but I ended up doing a video on it, and it's actually one of my first videos, so if you're interested in that topic, I'd suggest you go check it out. But back to Neji, in Databook 1 they describe him as a top class among Genin, and is implied to be stronger than Lee before the third gate. The reasoning for this being that Lee is stated by Guy to need the Lotus' speed to beat Neji, which requires the third gate, putting Neji's speed above the likes of weightless Lee. Pairing this with a Gentle Fist and he becomes an absolute monster to fight against. Now to number 1 of the preliminaries is of course Rock Lee. Rock Lee is a character that completely fits the underdog trope and does it so well you never manage to forget how he was ever an underdog, which is how deeply he engraved his character into us. Due to Rock Lee's persistence to reach his goal of showing everyone that you can be strong without ninjutsu or genjutsu, he's able to reach levels that people without ninjutsu wouldn't even be able to imagine, and goes as far as achieving his goal in this fight against Gaara. When Lee takes his weights off, he's able to completely outclass Gaara Sand in terms of speed, but he was lacking one thing: attack potency. So to compensate for this, he uses the Lotus technique, which overrides the chakra limiters known as the gates. With these gates open, like I mentioned before, he should be able to beat people like Neji in a fight with his high speed, hence his placement. Although he did technically lose to Gaara, his raw power is just on a different caliber, and Gaara was just barely hanging on. I'd also like to mention that Lee, even without using gates, would probably beat most of the people in the shooting exams besides Neji and Gaara. Now that we've finished the preliminary rankings, we can get into the finals of the shooting exams.
Alright, so these
In the
rankings will
finals
be
of the
different,
shooting
clearly.
exams, everyone takes their power to another level in one way or another, which is what brings these matchups to the next level. Starting up with number 7 and 8 is Shikamaru and Temari. Both of these characters are interchangeable, but I do have Shikamaru above due to him actually displaying battle IQ above hers, as well as arguably having a better ability depending on the situation. Not a number.
I'll tell you this, you should make it all the way to episode 66, where the pace is gonna suck. Trust me, bro, it'll be worth it every single second. Alright, I'll take your word, bro. I'll go to episode 66, but, you know, you better not be lying to me, bro. Because Boruto be, you know, it'd be almost putting me to sleep at a certain time. Not always, but there'd be certain points I'm about to fall asleep.
Number 6 and 5 was another tie between Shino and Kankuro. While they didn't technically fight in the Chunin exams, they did fight directly preceding it during the Konoha Crush.
It was like a tie.
This matchup ultimately finishes in a stalemate, with both combatants being rendered unable to fight, hence their tied placements. Number 4 is going to Gaara. Now it is important to note that this Gaara is stronger than the one that fought in the preliminary since he's killed multiple people, and the databook describes his sand getting blood as an amp to its strength. This Gaara doesn't even really need any elaboration for his placement this high. He's clearly.
The only problem with that is you can't really quantify that. Like, I hate it when people actually mention that. That actually annoys me. You want to know why? Because, alright, great. He kills people, he gets blood, he gets stronger, yet literally when he fights against Sasuke, he's getting beat up by the same Lee in speed back then. So if this blood is making him stronger, why the fuck can his sand not react? Or why can he not be faster or whatever? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, so when it says stronger, like, what does that even mean? Does that mean, like, mentally? Does that mean, like, in strength? Does that mean in chakra? Like, what the fuck does that mean? Because, like, when you literally analyze Gaara fighting in the beginning and analyze him fighting in Sasuke, it's the same fucking Gaara. The only difference is he has a big ball that he'll use to try to transform into Shikaku, and then also using, like, a sand thing to kind of move and fight and shit. That's the only, like, power-ups he gets. He doesn't get any stronger. He's the same fucking Gaara, on God. The Gaara that does get stronger is the one that, like, pulls up the fight against Kimmaru. So, like, I can't stand it when people bring that up because it's like, clearly him getting that blood ain't really amping him at all. Like, the quantification has to be pretty trash because he's still the same fucking Gaara. Like, I don't know. That's just me, though. I'm not lying, bro. Episode 65 is one of the 2 peaks of Boruto. Alright, bet. I believe you, Papa.
Mari, with them both being scared of him even outside of his power as a Jinchuriki. On to number 3 is Neji. Now Neji's drop 2 places from the preliminaries to the finals is actually justified, and I'll explain why here. Neji's able to fight and destroy base Naruto, but when Naruto went into his QB mode, Neji was pushed much farther than we ever seen him be pushed before. They were definitely relative, and I think that is shown pretty clearly with them moving around the same.
Is it me, or does this guy sound like he's like in high school? I'm not trying to be mean, bro, but like, I swear to God, he sounds like he's a teenager. Or he's in high school or something. How old is he?
And even canceling each other's chakra attacks out. But Neji inevitably got defeated by the dead last Guinean, and the databook even goes as far as saying that when Naruto punched him for the last time is when he surpassed the genius. That means number 3, of course, is going to be Naruto in his QB mode. Now I know narratively, and with the extent of the power that's shown to us by Naruto, it might be a little weird to think he's number 2, but I promise everything will make sense. Like I mentioned before, he's relative to Neji, but just slightly above, with Neji still being able to move at similar speeds to him, which grants him this placement. And now we can get into number 1. Sasuke Uchiha, in my opinion, is undoubtedly the strongest Genin in the finals, due to his sheer speed and strength. In his fight with Gaara, he's shown his exponential growth in just a month of training he did. He's able to match Lee's speed after being completely destroyed and blitzed by Lee just a month prior. Speed, however, isn't the only thing that Sasuke gained during his training period. He also gained the Chidori, which amps both his speed and his strength, and will undoubtedly cut right through any of the Genin it hits. Now I'll get into the consistency of Sasuke being number 1 Genin.
So there's one thing I want to say on that. So, obviously the whole thing with like Neji versus Sasuke is very, very contentious. Everybody fights about it. Everybody loses their minds about it. So, people think Sasuke wins. People think Neji wins. You name it. Because at the end of the day, it boils down to, you know what I mean, like the Chidori beat rotation. Because what we can confirm, okay, is Sasuke has weightless speed, okay? Which we know weightless speed couldn't do anything to Neji. It took for Lee to acquire the 3rd gate in order to be able to beat him. So if Lee can't beat Neji with weightless speed, 1st gate, and 2nd gate, and he needs the 3rd gate to even be able to beat Neji, okay, and Sasuke only has weightless speed, okay, I mean, clearly that Neji's going to be able to react, he's going to be able to fight back, and Sasuke doesn't want to engage Neji with taijutsu. He's completely outclassed there. He's going to get bodied. He even gets hit once. No more Sharingan, no more Chidori. So if anything, Sasuke's probably going to maybe do like a substitution at first to kind of feel him out, realize that he's completely outclassed by taijutsu. You know what I mean? Maybe do, like some long-range ninjutsu at first to kind of see. Then he's going to realize it's just not landing. Or he has like a rotation that, that can block the fire style, you name it. And so once that's all happening, Sasuke's like, all right, well, I can't really engage in close combat. He blocks all my ninjutsu attacks. How about this? Chidori. So what everybody forgets and what really pisses me off is when Sasuke first has the Chidori, it literally takes him time to use it. So like, you have Neji, right? So if Neji's fighting against this Sasuke, they're both geniuses. They're not going to underestimate each other. They're going to have respect for each other. They're both considered elites of their clan, blah, you name it. All right? It was even like something that was hinted in Naruto as well for them to eventually have a showdown, but it just never happened. Okay, so regardless of that, though, the narrative implications, when Sasuke goes to try to charge up the Chidori, Neji's going to be like, okay, he's trying to accumulate a bunch of chakra in his hand. I don't know what you're up to, but I'm not going to let you do that. And he'll basically charge at him, and then while Sasuke's trying to get his fucking Chidori pulled through, either he gets clapped and that's it, okay, or he's just not going to let Sasuke use Chidori. But let's say we grant Sasuke the Chidori, and he can just use it on the fly, right? Even though it was stated verbatim that he couldn't, and it took him a hot minute to activate it, okay? So let's say he can use it back-to-back, like when he was fighting against the stronger Gaara, right? And now he can activate it whenever, whatever. Okay, great. Now he has Chidori, yes, we know it increases his speed and everything, but the problem is we can't quantify that speed. And clearly the speed is not, like, significant or, like, massive enough, because fucking literally, Naruto's still able to do a Rising Gun against him. Like, Naruto's not getting speed blitz, you know what I mean? Like, literally the same Naruto that is in the Chunin exams that fought Neji and that fought Gaara fights the same Sasuke on the rooftop, and they're both at equal speed, and you name it. Like, they can both react to each other, combat, you name it, whatever. Sasuke does Chidori. Shouldn't he be faster now and just speed blitz Naruto? No, Naruto just does a fucking Rising Gun and lands it. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Like, he doesn't just get speed blitz. And then also, like, even Kakashi, like, when he does the Chidori, yeah, it makes him faster, but the Jonin guy still is so fast where he can still react, and he would have actually killed Kakashi if Minato didn't save him. So the Chidori amp isn't even, like, massive of a quantification. We can't quantify it, but we clearly know it's not massive because it's consistently shown that it's not a massive speed amp. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I don't understand about people, or what they don't realize with the technique Chidori. It's very powerful. It's no joke. If it hits, it's 9 out of 10 times cutting through whatever it's hitting. But it doesn't give you, like, an insane amount of speed to where, like, you can't even deal with the fucking person or react to him. That's just so stupid. So, like, yeah, he gets a little bit more faster, but guess what? That Chidori with the weightless speed is nowhere near the third gate. You would have to somehow prove that Chidori is near the same speed as third gate Lee. And you have no way to prove that. There's no way to concretely prove that his Chidori amps him to that level of speed. That's the fucking problem that people don't understand. Like, there's just no way to prove it. Even Shippuden Sasuke with his Chidori is stalemating against base Naruto, okay? Fucking Sasuke with the Chidori with fucking with two Tomo Sharingan and now has access to CM2, you name it. The Final Valley is still stalemating with the same Naruto, okay? And he had to resort to using CM1 and use ninjutsu combos to create an opening, choke Naruto, and then get a Chidori through him. So no, the Chidori doesn't give you a massive fucking speed increase to where you can just speed blitz anybody. You know what I mean? That's not how that fucking works, okay? Like, it's so, like, stupid and it pisses me off. Like, it's not a fucking lightning cloak like fucking the Raikage where now they can teleport in, you name it. Like, that's not how Chidori works. So, like, I don't know. Like, I can't stand that shit. But either way, so if Sasuke was to do a Chidori, okay, there's no way to upscale it to the third gate or fourth gate or fifth gate. You just cannot prove that. There's no implications. There's no evidence. There's no nothing. Instead, there's the contrary. So, yeah, he has Chidori. He's a little bit more faster. But guess what? He moves in a straight line. Very predictable. Like what Naruto did to Neji. In a straight line. Throws a technique. And basically, like, there's two ways this goes. Either Neji's confident enough to still react accordingly, like he always does. okay, and either gentle fist Sasuke and fuck him up, and Sasuke still loses that exchange, or, okay, fucking Neji won't take the chance and he'll just do rotation, and then it just comes to the question, does rotation work or does it just not work? And I'm going to be honest with you. It's very contentious. There's not a way to obviously concretely prove which way it's going to go. But possibility-wise, it actually, as of what I know with my current knowledge as of now, until I do my homework, you name it, maybe this can change, whatever. But as of now, my memory and knowledge, it's actually a lot more favorable for Neji. Surprisingly, as crazy as that sounds, because the rotation has a tremendous amount of a competence success rate. It has worked against Ten Tails attacks. It has worked against all the attacks while he's fighting against the fucking Spider-Man dude. It has worked against all of Naruto's attacks. It even worked against fucking QB enhanced Naruto while he was delayed. Okay, which a lot of people also forget this. He was literally delayed. Like, Naruto's like, you know, doing talking to Jutsu on Neji, and Neji's like all fucked up and conflicted mentally, and he's like talking to himself a whole paragraph. And then Naruto's like, you know, and then he's getting closer and closer, and then Neji's like, oh shit, I need to start the rotation. This is bad. And then he starts the rotation like last minute, and then bam, an explosion happens, and he takes damage. So meaning you could argue basically that if Neji wasn't late to start the rotation, and he did it like he normally always does on time, that it would have just parried Naruto's attack and made all the damage to him, or he would have took tremendous an amount of less damage. Let's say, if you want to be fair, at least, or say, oh, there's no way, you know what I mean, that he would have just completely negated. Even though whenever he does rotation, it negates everything that hits it. Like, even attacks that should be stronger. And if you still don't think that, Neji's uncle, I believe, does rotation on Boruto using the Rasengan, and another guy enhancing his weapon with lightning style, okay, electrical lightning style ninjutsu, does rotation and is able to completely deal with both techniques. So, like, you know, if that doesn't really go to show you that, like, the rotation has a high probability of being able to deal with Chidori, I don't know what to fucking tell you. And another thing what people also forget, rotation is literally just chakra. Naruto's Rasengan is a ball of chakra. It's literally a change in form. What that means, explained by Kakashi when he was training him for Raisen Shuriken, the change of form basically allows you to control the amount of power you have in the range, okay? So, if the Rasengan is a change in form, okay, not a change in nature, but a change in form, and you can use chakra itself and create a big ball and cause damage with it, okay? If Neji is releasing chakra from all over his body, a shit ton of it, alright? Why is it, you know, to be like, oh, Rasengan can deal with a Chidori, but, which is just chakra, okay? But yet, Neji's rotation can't deal with a Chidori, which is also chakra. You know, so, like, it kind of comes to the point where it's like, you know, what actually has a lot more higher of a possibility to work and be effective? In my opinion, as of now, what I know so far, in my memory, I would say rotation. So, meaning if you take that route, Neji with his rotation could deal with Chidori and counter it. So unless Sasuke is able to create an opening like he did against Naruto, you know, like the CM1 or whatever, which he's not allowed to use curse marks, that's not happening either. You know what I mean? But if he could somehow, some way create an opening and land a Chidori, then yeah, Neji's dead. But that's just not going to happen. With his 360 vision, you know, the back are going to be to anticipate attacks and read, you know, and predict and act and react accordingly, like what 3 Tomo Sasuke was doing to QB Naruto. It's basically what Neji does 24/7. I just don't see it happening. You know what I mean? And he's just going to rotate. He only has 2 shots, does 2 shots. Now he can't do anything. Neji just beats his ass. That's it. GG. So if Neji fights against, you know, that Sasuke, basically that it's more than likely going to be ending in his favor. Sasuke doesn't really, in my opinion, doesn't really surpass Neji until it's getting towards like the Final Valley Sasuke. That's where it's more likely narratively implied that not even Neji could be able to beat Sasuke, blah, blah, you know, because of the curse mark and everything, you name it, and Neji would more than likely lose, whatever, and it is what it is from there. But either way, that's kind of my whole take with Neji in the Sasuke shit. I really wanted to talk about that and emphasize because it just, I don't know, like, I feel like a lot of people, like, are always immediate or always, like, to just say, oh, Sasuke just wins no matter what. It's like, okay, well, why? You can't just say, oh, he just wins because he's you know, the strong, whatever. But, all right, bet, show it. And 9 out of 10 times, they don't even show it. They just say he's the strongest. Or they say that, oh, once he does Chidori, GG. Like, that's not how that works, bro. You know, like, I can't stand that shit. So, that's all I'll say with that. And then if with Neji and Gaara, that's very, very contentious. If you think Neji's Gentle Fist can work against Gaara, then obviously Neji wins. If not, then Gaara would win. Simple as that. And if Gaara goes in his big ball of sand, Neji's not going to have anything to deal with that, and Neji would just lose. Or nothing would fucking happen. And the moment Gaara transforms, then Neji's basically dead. But obviously, if it's a tuning exam fight, and this guy is transforming into a fucking Jinchuriki, nobody's going to let that slide similar to the curse mark, and it'll just stop the fight, and then from there, shit just pops off anyways, and the whole Konoha Crush arc happens all over again. So that's basically I would go with Neji and Gaara. And then with, and also, for everybody that also doesn't know this as well, Neji and Naruto would have lost that fight a million fucking times, but the plot demanded for Naruto to not lose. Okay, Neji gave him millions of opportunities to get up and fight back, because Naruto really had him intrigued, and basically it was kind of satisfying Neji's urge to kind of prove his points and be a failure is always a failure and blah blah the whole 9 yards. So Neji was basically being a cocky prick and being a dickhead, and because he was allowing Naruto to keep trying to beat him, that's why the fight ended the way it did to begin with. If Neji was dead on serious about defeating Naruto would have lost a long time ago. There was so many times where Naruto's on the ground and Neji could have just knocked him out or whatever, or killed him, whatever, and he didn't do anything. He just stood there talking shit or let him get up. So that also has to go out the window. But either way, so bottom line is, when it comes to the last shooting exam participants, you name it, it's basically between Neji, Gaara, and Sasuke. Those are the main three. The only way Naruto is the top dog is if he summons Genbunta or does fucking 2,000 goddamn shadow clones or whatever, like he did against the fucking V2 Gaara, some shit like that. Or, then Naruto would definitely be top dog. But if we take that away and just include everything he demonstrated with Neji, then obviously Naruto's not even involved in the top three. So once again, it comes down to Sasuke, Neji, Gaara. And at that point, I do believe Neji would beat Sasuke. And then it comes to Gaara and Neji. And regardless of whoever you think wins, it's either Neji or it's Gaara that comes up top. If I had to choose between the two, I would say Neji overall is the strongest. Okay, and that's it. It is what it is. Now, I'm going to be real with you, though. In a life and death battle, if Neji and Gaara were to fight, and let's say you think the Gentle Fist works, blah, blah, okay, the moment Gaara activates his Jinchuriki abilities, which he would be forced to do because he wouldn't be able to use any of his own chakra, similar to what Naruto, okay, Neji loses. So in a life and death battle, Neji is losing to Gaara, but in the shooting exam part, Neji would win, and he would win that round. Gaara wouldn't be able to use any of his abilities, anything. He'd be fucked, and then he would either just get knocked out, or he would have to be forced to resort to the Jinchuriki, Shikaku, and if that happens, they're stopping the fight, and Neji wins. That's simple. Or, like I said, in story-wise, it would just, all the shit would pop off, and it would go exactly the way it went as it did before. So, that's basically all it is. But we're going to let this video play out fully. I'm done with me giving all my thoughts, and towards the end, I really, really want to talk about that. Like I said, I can't stand the Sasuke bullshit.
About the likes of Naruto and Neji.
I love Sasuke, but I'm gonna keep it a buck when it needs to be done.
After seeing Naruto vs. Neji, Orochimaru, disguised as the 4th Kazekage Rasa, told Hiruzen that Sasuke is the best opponent for Gaara to fight, if the goal is to show potential climbs to the strength of the Sand Village, clearly implying that he thinks that Sasuke is the strongest one there. The argument that's usually made in response to this is that maybe Oro is just trying to say anything that will let Sasuke's tardiness be excused for just a little while longer.
And then not only that, there's a lot of hype and narrative to hype up, and he's the last of Uchiha clan member. Sasuke and Gaara's considered the Sand's ultimate, Genin or whatever you name it. So and Sasuke's not only considered elite, but the last of his clan, blah blah. So it's a very hyped up battle. It's a very, it's kind of similar to in the real world, where you got two big boys about to fight, and everybody's yeah, let's go, hyped, and then you name it. Doesn't mean necessarily between those two that they're the strongest of everybody included in the whole fucking UFC arena and whatnot. But it has a lot of hype, narrative, whatever, blah blah, and etc. It's kind of similar to that aspect. So But anyways, I'm glad he at least mentioned that, because if his whole thing is, this statement says this, therefore Sasuke's the strongest now, that's not how that works. You can't do that. You have to use feats, you have to use statements and things, and make sure nothing is contradicted.
But the problem with this is that Orochimaru right before this already convinced Hiruzen to give him more time, meaning that he has absolutely no reason to lie. The next piece of evidence we have is from Databook 1.
Oh, okay, so he thinks he's not even lying or anything and blah blah. Like he thinks therefore that would just upset. Yeah, no, that's not how that works, bro. That's probably the weakest, most trash argument you could ever use, ever. That's not how that fucking works.
Our strongest opponent, and as we know in Naruto,
Apparently, weightless Lee is also the strongest now. Like what? Like no.
They're usually described as speed and attack potency unless implied otherwise, and this is especially true for Sasuke since in this fight he did nothing but flaunt his immense speed and attack potency. I'd also like to mention that this is talking about before Chidori, since the statement goes over the fight in chronological order, and only references Gaara's Sand Orb after Sasuke's called the strongest. This gives credence to the idea of Sasuke being stronger and faster than 5th Gate Lee, who of course is stronger than Neji.
Damn!
Before.
Faster and stronger than 5th Gate Lee? Sheesh! You wanna know the craziest thing? There was no destructive capacity on the same level as that Lee. He could be seen the entire time. Kakashi didn't even use his shotgun to track Sasuke. Not even Guy was acknowledging that he had 5th Gate Lee. Instead, Guy says he has weightless Lee speed. There's so many outliers to that, so many contradictions to that, you name it. I can go on and on and on, but man, Sasuke got that 5th Gate level of power and speed, baby. Gates level. Hell yeah, let's fucking go. Fucking bullshit.
The first of which
oh my god, he would get bullied so hard in a debate.
From a logical standpoint, I don't think it's safe to assume that Neji, from just a month of training, will get a Gates level amp, especially since it's implied that in training, Neji's only training his defense specifically, which is
so. And that's the most hilarious part about it too. Like, so now Sasuke gets Gates levels of an amp, but Neji he just stays the same. Like, what the fuck? So, with that logic, like, no, then you apply the same for Neji, and then whatever. I guess now Neji is 5th Gate level of speed now, and you name it. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Unlock and utilize.
Jesus Christ.
And there's also the fact that
Sasuke-Tard's got to calm down.
Neji, while Neji has a 4, but Sasuke has a 5. Sasuke also has
noted, Outlaw Truth is a Sasuke-Tard. Yay. Jesus Christ.
Is stronger all the time. And the other argument is that Might Guy simply says that Sasuke is as fast as weightless Lee speed, and nothing more. But the problem with that is in the first fan.
Wait, okay, so he's actually talking about like counter arguments. Hang on.
And there's also the fact that Sasuke has a higher latent abilities stat than Neji, while Neji has a 4, but Sasuke has a 5. Sasuke also has shown the ability to rapidly grow during this fight.
Okay, and Lee also has greater taijutsu. So, you know, we all know taijutsu, like hand-to-hand combat, speed, you name it, all that. His is way greater than the data book charts and stuff. So if you're going to use data book charts, you might want to show that too. Meaning, therefore, including the gates, because I'm pretty sure that would be obvious in what Kishimoto's trying to emphasize. So meaning that even the Sasuke and the tuning exams, which remind you, it shows the one with the black outfit as well, is not faster and stronger than Gates Lee. So that would actually contradict your scaling and what your arguments are presented. Like that right there, he just basically made himself look like a fucking idiot. You can't show data book stats and show like something to only like basically support Sasuke, but then not even show like the taijutsu stats and show how drastically Lee is way above that Sasuke. Like how the fuck does that work, bro?
And Sakura says he always gets stronger all the time. And the other argument is that Might Guy simply says that Sasuke is as fast as weightless Lee speed, and nothing more. But the problem with that is in the first fan book, it's somewhat implied that he wasn't going all out against Gaara since he was lost in thought.
Wait, what? What? No fucking shot, bro. This man did not just say he was not going all out. The motherfucker went at full speed, and after using all that speed, he's huffing and puffing and getting super tired. How the fuck does that... He did not go all out. That's like me going to a fucking weight room, lifting as many reps as I can, going as hard as I can, or whatever, or punching something so hard, and then I start getting fatigued and huffing and puffing, but I'm not going all out? What the fuck does that mean, bro? And then Rock Lee even compliments on it and says, man, you know, yeah, it's impressive that you have that level of speed like me in taijutsu, but it does take a lot of energy out of you, huh? Get the fuck out of here, bro. You're just saying shit out of your asshole. Bro, Outlaw Tree, if you didn't see this video, you are capping, bro. Like, you are fucking capping. Like, there's no way you just said that bullshit out of your mouth. No fucking way. Like, you need to relax.
Yeah. Being
Holy shit.
isn't as potent as usual, since chakra, of course, is mental and physical energy, meaning that Sasuke is not only weightless Lee speed, since nothing of the sort is implied for a going all out Sasuke. The following arc.
None of that concretely proves anything he just fucking said. He's literally just shitting ass fucking assumptions right now. Like, what? It's stated verbatim what he did against Gaara. What his actual speed is, you name it. Guy knows Lee's speed better than anybody. Okay? Never does Guy say, wow, Sasuke has Gates level of speed, or wow, Sasuke has surpassed Lee in speed, or anything to hint that this Sasuke could scale miraculously to Gates level of fucking Lee. That's never implied. It's never stated. There's nothing to concretely prove it. He doesn't even have the same destructive feats to fucking prove it. There's nothing to imply that Sasuke is Gates level of power. It's all assumptions and subjective bullshit arguments. So, like, that doesn't work. Like, I don't understand why people do that. You can't just make shit up because you want it to be that way. That's not how it fucking works. Show the feats then, or show actual statements or words that say, yeah, this Sasuke is Gates level of fucking power and speed now. Okay? That's not the fucking case. He doesn't even acquire that when he has Chidori. Better yet, a guy even compliments and says, now I see why you train Sasuke to obtain that level of speed like Lee, weightless speed, so he can be able to use his Chidori. Basically implying that you need a certain level of speed to use that technique, so on and so forth, and so on and etc. Like, it's literally stated of why he even acquired that speed to begin with. So, like, just to come out here and come out with some bullshit and say, fucking Sasuke's Gates level of speed now, blah, blah. Like, okay, then show it, bro. Prove it. Guess what? You can't fucking prove that, okay? So, fantastic. You're basically just saying shit for no reason. Like, I'm sorry. I can't stand that. Like, the Sasuke winks, the fucking SASUKETARDs, the fucking bullshit, it all has to calm down. I understand Naruto and Sasuke are the main character, but it doesn't mean they win 24-7. Jesus Christ.
Argument gluing this all together
Anyways.
is actually from an anime guidebook, so if you don't take that as canon, that's perfectly fine, but it reads as follows. Sasuke arrives in a whirlwind of leaves, just in time to avoid being disqualified. Gaara grins at the sight. The confrontation between the best of the Saiyan and the leaves begins. This is just blatantly saying that he's the strongest getting the leaf, and the only real argument against this is something like, well, Sasuke is not stronger than Kakashi, so it's wrong. But it's clearly in context talking about the tuning exam participants and not the entire Leaf Village. But that's all I have for today.
All right.
If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe, since it helps a lot. And also I have more videos you can check out right here. Other than that, have a good day.
All right, so I definitely want to get my thoughts on
So
that.
that statement of saying, like, the best of the leaves in sand, all right, great, fantastic. But once again, which is another thing that everybody forgets and tries to exploit or misconstrued and bullshit and aka rat, okay, that is literally an hype issue statement. It is literally around the time when the tuning exam is going on. It's for, like, print and paper, you name it, for the Naruto community, the whole fucking 9 yards, basically hyping up the issue while Sasuke and Kakashi arrive. They literally arrive, like, in the most badass entrance of, like, leaves swirling around, you name it, like, all cool and swag, the whole 9 yards. And then there's those words, like, the best of the leaves and then the sand. Okay? Like, it's literally just to hype up the fight and the issue. Basically to give a lot of fucking, hype up expectation and to kind of get everyone excited, like, oh, wow, it's about to go down, you name it. Doesn't mean Sasuke is literally the strongest out of everybody here. That doesn't make any fucking sense. If anything, it's actually contradicted because Naruto technically would be the strongest. If we actually look at that statement at a grain of salt, Naruto was the strongest. Motherfucker summons like 2,000 fucking shadow clones and is shitting on a stronger Gaara that shitted on Sasuke. Okay? And then summons Gamabunta and Sasuke is like shivering. He's literally shivering because of how scared he is. Okay? And makes that shit go from an Hokage level fucking battle. Okay? Like, by that logic and statement, that makes no fucking sense. Naruto's then the strongest. That makes no fucking sense whatsoever. At all. Like, or better yet, if you don't even accept that, okay, as a contradiction, then you have fucking, Neji or whatever, or you have Guy and all these other people, and not a single fucking point do they ever say, wow, even our Neji would be inferior to Sasuke or, whatever, blah, blah. Like, no. If anything, the opposite is actually implied to where Kakashi knows Sasuke better to anyone to the fucking T, okay? it has a statement comparing him to Neji, saying even our precious Sasuke would be, inferior to Neji. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure if Kishimoto's trying to emphasize and really explain who's actually the top dog and whatever, he's gonna put that information in there. You know what I mean? But you have weirdos like this, okay, that would take certain information, okay, and take it out of context and make up some bullshit interpretation or whatever, yada yada, but then have no evidence to back it up. And just say, oh, this is what's said, therefore X, Y, and Z. Therefore, there you go. That's not how shit works. If that's how things worked in life, bro, oh my god, it would be fucking chaos. It'd be fucking crazy. Instead, you know what I mean, we have to use actual evidence, concrete evidence to prove, you name it, whatever. Science is a perfect example. Court system is a perfect example. The whole fucking 9 yards. Like, just no. It's not how it goes. But we're going to finish this video out, listen to JtheGreat, kind of hear him out and see what his thoughts and everything are, and then go from there and conclude this shit.
Yes. Right. So, I would say, as far as the tuning exam finals rankings, I do have some counters to some of Truth's arguments to build his premise. So,
good.
I would argue that you could put Naruto at number 1.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. See, somebody has brain cells. Somebody has brain cells. So, like, once again, like, it's so fucking, it's just so stupid. It's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, for instance, if Lee went against Naruto, let's say it wasn't Neji and it was Rock Lee instead, and Lee does the fucking gates against Naruto, guess what? Naruto gets fucking destroyed. Just destroyed. Fucking dog, okay? Destroyed. And, you want to know what would happen? The plot would save the day. QB Amp comes up, and then Naruto beats Lee. That's literally what would happen. Okay? So, like, it's common sense, right? So, therefore, if that's how that happens, does that mean Lee is weaker than Naruto overall? Or does that mean he's just, Naruto has an advantage, something that Lee doesn't have, and basically that compensates for the lack of difference in power, which is why Naruto would win? People forget about that, you know what I mean? Same shit with Gaara, and same shit with everything else in fucking Naruto, but yes. Perfect. He's already starting this off perfectly. So this is gonna sound sorry.
Because if we're staying consistent, right, we're using feats outside of the very tuning exam battles themselves, right? Like Truth did with Shino. Well, we got to see what Naruto did against Gaara.
Yep.
He was able to defeat Gaara.
All his forms.
Fully awakening the One Tail. I think it was fully awakened.
Yeah.
With the help of Gamabunta, right? Now, some people might say, well, that's Gamabunta added on top of Naruto. Well, that's in his arsenal at that point in time. That's like saying Shino can't use his bugs.
Thank you.
Part of his arsenal.
Thank
Jiraiya
you.
with his. Orochimaru with Manda. Tsunade with Katsuya.
Hearing somebody with fucking brain cells. Holy shit, baby. Holy shit.
So it's part of his arsenal at this point. He's able to use it, right? So that Naruto scales above Sasuke because Sasuke lost to that Gaara. And that was Gaara before he fully awakened.
You know what, bro? The title of this video, it's going to be a clickbait video and to get somebody a little butthurt. Outlaw Truth is a SASUKETARD. How about that? A fucking Sasuke. Bro, he even put, to be fair, he was technically included in the Forest of Death Sasuke, so no, I'll let him be on that. But yeah, I'm sorry, bro. I got to do it to him. I got to do it. It's blatantly obvious as day this motherfucker is a SASUKETARD.
So that was a weaker Gaara. That wasn't a fully awakened One Tail. That was one when he was partly awakened, right, with half his face being One Tail.
Yeah.
So that's why Naruto would scale above Sasuke.
Yep.
Now Sasuke, I do hold that statement in the data book pretty high. It says that he was the strongest opponent that Gaara ever faced. So that means he was above 5 Gates Rock Lee.
So, see, that's the problem. It doesn't mean necessarily that he would be above. Now, I love and absolutely respect that JtheGreat is he's able to have the capability to be open-minded and to understand both perspectives, arguments, and name the whole 9 yards. I love that about him. It's incredible. Thank God he's there for a reason. Because if anybody else wasn't doing it, I would lose my fucking mind. But what the problem is, the reason there's a problem with coming to that conclusion, therefore that would scale immediately Sasuke the Gates level, Lee, whatever. The reason why that doesn't work, all because somebody considers you your strongest opponent, doesn't mean you now scale to X, Y, and Z. That's not how that fucking works, okay? There's so many ways that literally contradicts itself, okay? For instance, okay, when you look at that, Rock Lee only has access to taijutsu, right? So there's only so much he can do. He doesn't have Chidori, he doesn't have the Nine Tails, he doesn't have Rising Gun, he doesn't have fucking Gentle Fist, you know, the whole fucking shenanigans. He doesn't have any of that. He just has taijutsu and then gates. While Sasuke has the Sharingan, Weightless Speed, Ninjutsu, and Chidori. Guess what? Chidori was the only reason why he could even beat Gaara to begin with. And guess what? Even though he injured Gaara, that still wasn't enough to beat Gaara. Okay, it just allowed him to injure Gaara and make him bleed. Gaara still hasn't hit his Jinchuriki, so guess what? Gaara would still beat Sasuke. Literally shown, literally in the fucking anime and in the manga. Like, his Chidori was not enough to beat him. Why? Because of the Shikaku. So, like, therefore, like, Gaara is over Sasuke. You know what I mean? Just how Gaara was able to beat Lee because, you know, and of all his advantages. Same shit applies with Sasuke, you know? So, like, that doesn't necessarily mean he's Gates level. All that means is maybe that's due to the fact of him having Chidori and the Sharingan. Or better yet, maybe that's also due to the fact that, you know, what's it called? You know, what everyone also always forgets is that they both have the same eyes. Like, there's a whole fucking narrative comparison of Sasuke having the same eyes as Gaara, of loneliness, pain, you name it, and the power to wanting to kill someone to get, you know, to get satisfaction, whatever. Like, they have a whole fucking thing when it comes to that. That's also why Gaara could consider fucking Sasuke the strongest, you know what I mean? Because of, like, you know, the darkness within their eyes and how they are similar and compare and that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't even consider Naruto the strongest, even though Naruto was the strongest. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, that's just a misjudgment in Gaara. That's all that is. He's basically considering Sasuke to be the strongest because of X, Y, and Z. You know, with the eyes, the hatred, the pain, the loneliness, and, you know, the wanting to kill someone in order to, you know what I mean, to obtain satisfaction, you name it, go fucking 9 yards. So, like, that's probably why he considers Sasuke the strongest, because Lee don't got those eyes. Naruto doesn't have those eyes of wanting to kill somebody and blah, blah, and the darkness within and all that other bullshit, you know what I mean? Like, that could also be another reason, you know what I mean? So, like, there's just so much to just try to think of what that could be interpreted towards of. And at that point, that means we have to go with the highest possibility, okay? So, meaning, with that being the case, that means, therefore, okay, the highest possibility, what it more than likely means is because at that point in time, either since Sasuke had the Chidori, okay, what's it called, you know, and everything, and he can kind of feel his presence and whatnot, he considered him the strongest at that point, you know what I mean, because he was able to injure him, whatever, or because that's after, you know what I mean, let's say the statement is like just before they fight or whatever, that can also be implied because of the whole, you know, personal similar ties that they had. They literally have a full-on conversation interaction before they even fight. A whole conversation, compare each other and contrast, you name it. Okay? And that's also the more likely possibility of why Gaara was considering him the strongest. You can't just say that he's considered the strongest, therefore that's out of everybody, and that gives him Gates level power and speed, blah, blah, you name it. You can't just make shit up. That's not how that works, because that's literally contradicted, not only by statements, feats, and Naruto beating Gaara at his strongest fucking point. Like, it's just stupid. It's fucking stupid. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I'm a logical person. I go by feats and actual concrete evidence, not by just tooth fairy nonsense. Okay?
It's saying it's the strongest opponent Gaara has faced. Some people say, well, that was a Rock Lee was crippled at this point. It doesn't matter. It's saying it's the strongest opponent Gaara has faced. Meaning, everyone he's faced, we're talking about those versions of the people he faced, right? 5 Gates Rock Lee was someone he faced. Sasuke is stated to be stronger than that. We can't go against what's stated, right? It's literally stated.
Well, you can, especially if it's a vague statement, because it's not saying, okay, Sasuke is Gaara's strongest opponent, okay, surpassing Lee and everybody else or whatever, you know what I mean? Or saying like verbatim, like Sasuke reaches, you know what I mean, Gates level of speed or anything like that to concretely deduce that like that's what it means. No, it's just saying it's his strongest opponent. That could be applied for millions of fucking reasons. Because he has ninjutsu, Shidori, because, you know, similarities with their darkness and everything, you name it. We don't fucking know. And obviously we have to go with the more higher possibility, okay? And Sasuke has no feats to show he's Gates level. He has no statements to support that he's Gates level. Nothing to conclude that. He doesn't even have anything to support that he's the strongest fucking opponent, especially afterwards of what we see. So unfortunately, it's all contradicted. It's all bullshit. It's people making up shit to float their boat, whatever, the whole 9 yards. It is what it is.
A piece of canonical literature. Hence, Sasuke is above 5.
But I do understand what JtheGreat is saying. I do understand what he's saying, and there's nothing wrong with that part of it.
Lee, who is above Neji? Because Neji is only used to up to third. He was only used to up until the third gates, right? Even Rock Lee acknowledged the fourth and fifth gates are for you. And Neji was visibly shaken by the new gates that Rock Lee could awaken, right? Meaning that on a bounce of probabilities, he probably would lose. It would be a threat to him at bare minimum. It'd be a threat to him, and it would be competitive, right? So, Rock Lee would probably be third in my opinion, if he was healthy. It's a hypothetical. Now, the only reason I would say Gaara scales above Neji is because if he loses it, right? If he gets enraged, then he's capable of taking out someone that's stronger than Rock Lee in fifth gates, who's stronger than Neji, more than likely. Hence, I'd probably put Gaara above Neji, in my opinion, because of that fact, right? If he's able to defeat Sasuke, who's stated as the strongest opponent that he's ever faced, later on, right, during the Konoha invasion with Orochimaru, then he probably beats Neji as well. Right, it goes Sasuke, Rock Lee, fifth gates, fourth gates, Neji. Gaara's above that when he's enraged. And then Naruto with the QB Amp and Gamabunta is above that. My final ranking would probably be Naruto. Not thinking about it. Naruto would be number 1. You could put Gaara number 2 because he did beat Sasuke later on. Number 3 would be Sasuke. Number 4 would be well, let's eliminate Rock Lee because he was crippled at this point. Neji, and then the rest. Right? We really only care about like the top 4 guys here because those guys are always compared. Now, if you want to put Neji higher, there is arguments for that. Right? There are arguments for that. But that's more speculation. To me, it's a more flimsy argument.
So that's how I understand. Like, people consider those arguments for Neji speculation, but yet they don't consider Sasuke's argument speculation. Like, huh? Like, how the fuck does that work? Like, I'll never understand that. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I get what he's saying, but like, there's some people that take that shit to a T, and it's like you can't just apply that for one character but not the other.
Empirical evidence to suggest Neji wins. Right? There's. Less empirical evidence to suggest that. So yeah, folks, that's my thoughts on it. It's even something that I have to think about, and you kind of saw my thought process right now with me kind of deducing who would be above who and why. Again, it's all contentious. Some people think Neji beats Sasuke, and there's some pretty decent arguments, even though in my opinion they're more flimsy. But I don't think you're crazy for saying that, even though I might disagree with you. All right, and even if you do have a good rational deduction, it's stated who's the strongest Gaara's ever faced. Right? We got to take into account the canonical literature that's provided. So yeah, folks, that's my thoughts in the video. Let me know your thoughts. I'm sure you guys' opinions are all over the place. I mean, it usually is. In the grand scheme of the Naruto fandom, there's some very, very different opinions, right? It's some people, like I said, think Sasuke's the strongest, Neji, Gaara, Rock Lee, you name it. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Great video by Truth. He had a pretty good way of scaling everything.
It was a good video. We'll end it here. It was a good video. Like, it wasn't horrible, whatever. It was good for the most part. But when it came to all the Sasuke shit, that shit just, like, that was, no. Like, it was clear fucking, you know, favoritism, bias, nonsense, whatnot. And it was, clearly he's a Sasuke-tard. This is that simple. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be a dick, but he's clearly a Sasuke-tard. But anyways, we'll end it here. Make sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below. Let me know what you guys think. Deadass, just let me know. Who's the strongest overall? Like, just consider everything into consideration. Everything. Who would be the strongest? Okay, who would be the strongest? Like I said, eventually I will come out with my own videos, and while I'm doing, all my homework and you name it, and really diving into it, and they're really looking over everything, data books, you name it, and I will come to my conclusions and eventually give my thoughts and my own videos of who's actually the strongest, blah blah, or versus battles, you name it, the whole fucking 9 yards. So that will eventually be a thing, and that will come out in time. You got to bear with me. I'm almost done with getting all the scans. I'm looking over all the manga, you name it. But and all that. So just give patience, you name it. Things will come in time. Plenty of Naruto content channels out there, so you guys, you don't have to be waiting on me all the time. But yeah. So we'll kind of leave it at that. But either way, subscribe for more content. Subscribe to the channel. As always, see you next video. Peace.